LTAB070825. Today is July 8th, 2025, and the time is 1:30. Items on the agenda may be taken out of order. The board may combine two or more agenda items for consideration. The board may remove an item from the agenda or delay discussion relating to an item at any time. No action may be taken on any matter not listed on the posted agenda. All planning and zoning matters heard at this meeting are forwarded to the Board of County Commissioners Zoning Commission, BCC, or the Clark County Planning Commission, PC, for final action. Please turn off or mute all cell phones and other electronic devices. Please take all private conversations outside the room. With a 48-hour advance request, a sign language interpreter, or other reasonable efforts to assist and accommodate persons with physical disabilities may be made available by calling 702-455-3530, TDD at 702-385-7486, or Relay Nevada toll-free at 800-326-6868. Supporting material is provided to the board members for this meeting, and it may be requested from Tammy Harris at 702-298-0828. Supporting material is or will be available at the Clark County Department of Administrative Services, 500 South Grand Central Parkway, 6th floor, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89155. Supporting material is or will be available on the county's website at clarkcountynevada.gov/Laughlin TAB. At this time, I'll call roll call. I am here. Kathy Oakes.
Here.
Bradley Beck.
Here.
Fred Doughton.
Here.
Kathleen Haas.
Here.
We do have a quorum. Our secretary, Tammy Harris, 702-298-0828, or Tammy.Harris at clarkcountynevada.gov. We also have Mark Moskowitz, who can be reached at 702-298-0828 or 702-455-6173, or Mark.Moskowitz, Moskowitz, at clarkcountynevada.gov. At this time, I've called the meeting to order, and if Fred would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now is the time for public comment. This is a period devoted to comments by the general public about items on this agenda. No discussion, action, or vote may be taken on this agenda item. You will be afforded the opportunity to speak on individual public hearing items at the time they are presented. If you wish to speak to the board about items within its jurisdiction, but not appearing on this agenda, you must wait until the comments by the general public period listed at the end of this agenda. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Please step up to the speaker's podium. If applicable, clearly state your name and address, and please spell your last name for the record. If any member of the board wishes to extend the length of a presentation, this will be done by the chairperson or the board by majority vote.
Kathleen Whitehead, 2833 Beacon Rock Drive. Kathleen Whitehead, 2833 Beacon Rock Drive, Laughlin. I just have a question for Jason. Jill, I think it was Jill, put an article in the paper about once we finally get the water approved, the tank and everything. And I'm not sure if Jill's the one that wrote it up. I think so. But it said it was going to take 2 years for engineering and design, but only 1 year to build. My question is, why does it take 2 years to engineer and design? I can understand the 1 year to build, but 2 years? So that's my question. Why is it taking so long once it finally gets approved to get built? Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. So at this time, I will combine 3 and 4, approval of the minutes for the June 10th, 2025 meeting, and approval of the agenda for July 8th, 2025, and hold, combine, or delete any items.
Madam Chair, I'll make the motion, combine items 3 and 4.
Thank you.
And I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Now we have informational items. Receiver report and updates from the South County Liaison, Mark Moskowitz, on the upcoming annual back-to-school health and wellness fair scheduled for Saturday, August 2nd, 2025, at the Spirit Mountain Activity Center, and any other updates from Clark County.
Thank you, Chair. First, I'm going to start. I know there's been some rumors in the community, and I think that's why there's a lot of people here today regarding the Boys and Girls Club. I want to let everyone know that the Boys and Girls Club is not getting kicked out. Their lease is not getting terminated. What is happening is, and this actually happened on Tuesday of last week because Autumn had retired. We had a meeting with Carrie because Clark County and the Boys and Girls Club, Clark County is exploring all of their options. So currently, we're at capacity in that community center. We have one little room that we do all of our programs out, and the Boys and Girls Club has the other side. In the past, it worked well because it's a shared space in a lot of the Boys and Girls Club area. However, the Boys and Girls Club, which is wonderful, has expanded their program. It used to just be an afternoon, evening program, so our area could use all of that space like during the day. However, with today's day and age with safety, every single person that interacts with a club member has to be background checked. So essentially that kind of shuts off all of our space on that side. So we had a meeting with the Boys and Girls Club to explore, which is brought to us by a lot of community members, of using Bennett, the old Bennett Elementary School, which I think is a wonderful location because it's secure, it's locked, it's got playgrounds, it's got gymnasium, it has a lot of space. I know I've been speaking to some members, they could also open a store potentially there to help, because currently they don't have a store like they do in Bullhead. So we're in the beginning stage of just starting that conversation, because what we would also like to do is to enhance our community center. Personally, what I don't enjoy is that everyone that enters our senior center, they enter through the side door. So we don't know who's coming in, when they're coming in. We need a true community center where people enter through the front door, where we're able to see who they are, kind of set them on their way. What we're looking at doing is adding a gym, adding some workout equipment in there, really expanding our programs. So that's what we've been talking with our Parks and Rec department. However, we're cognizant of the Boys and Girls Club because they have big security measures that they have to follow, that we can't have our public interacting with their club members because it's a safety issue. Another issue is that the Bennett Elementary School has a playground. Our playground currently is used by all members of the community. So I know, that makes it more safe and secure. To bring everyone up to speed, what we're doing right now is we're coordinating with Clark County School District. So Clark County School District is not a part of Clark County itself. So I'm helping to kind of foster that relationship, connect them. After our meeting, the representatives from Clark County School District were out of town, so that's why we're trying to set up a meeting this week. So this is all very new. I've heard from a lot of people that there's a lot of rumors. Nothing has gone forward. What happens is we're just talking with the Boys and Girls Club. We had a very positive meeting on Tuesday. They're very happy that we're growing out of our space, because I was there this morning, and we have 2 programs, and they're doing cards and knitting, and that's all we can do there with the divider. It's not really a community center like the other ones in town, and we want to make it one where you can go and use gym equipment, where you can do several classes during the day, not just 1 or 2 things that are happening, they're blocking out. So that's what we're doing. We waited till the school was open for about a year to make sure everything was okay with the new Bennett Elementary School, because they were cautious of if anything goes wrong and they had to relocate, that we needed to keep it open. So now we're about that year, and we're looking at the option of having the Boys and Girls Club relocate there. And as I mentioned before, so in the past they only had about 1 program a day. Now they've got like from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. So it really limits our ability. We don't want to limit their ability to grow. They are growing. They're doing a great thing for our community. But we also want to be able to provide our seniors in our community a lot more programs, a lot more opportunities, and make it a true community center. So I will keep the community updated. That's mostly what happened. That's exactly what happened. We had one meeting with Carrie, who's now the interim. I know we threw a lot at her because she just started that day, so Autumn had retired. But that's what we're working forward to, and we're coordinating with Clark County School District. I believe they will do. It's a very minimal lease. I think it's either, don't quote me on this, either $1 a month or $1 a year. And then there's other things that Clark County, it maybe would be utilities or stuff like that that they would have to cover. So it's not like they're paying rent to use the whole building. And to make it clear on the record, the school district has offered the entire school facility to them. Sunrise Foundation was looking at using the kinder care. They're no longer going to do that, so they could really use that whole beautiful area. I did get a tour of it because I want to make sure if we were going to go down this path that it was usable. To me, it's very usable. There's a lot to do. What I love is that it's secure. There's a fence. There's one way in, one way out. So you're not, yes, we have a locked door right now, but there potentially could be interactions with the public and a club member. So, and I think the Boys and Girls Club also has looked into what might be of security risks as well. So I think, in my opinion, I think this is a good move for the community, but that's what I just want to bring forward. I know people today have brought that to my attention, so.
And Mark, I want to make sure that everyone knows going forward that myself as the chair of the town board and our community leaders, the chamber, will all be involved in these discussions moving forward, and that when they do terminate their lease, that they would immediately be using those facilities.
Yes, we want to make it work well for both parties. I know there's probably a rumor going around that we were going to do it by August. Our goal would be to have it for the beginning of the school year so they could start their school year fresh in a new location. We could also have with our health fair, which I'll mention in a second, like really kind of a kickoff and showcasing our new space. But the whole process is, if it does go down that path, and this is all in the contract, this is all public record, that it would be a 60-day notice. So it's not like nobody's getting moved out of anywhere. Like, that's why we're being also very delicate with it, because we didn't want this to happen. That's why we wanted to reach out to them exclusively to make sure that is okay. So I'm a little frustrated that we're here, because we don't want people to think that we're kicking out the Boys and Girls Club. We're trying to, that's not our intent. We want more programs in our community. So, but we had to start that conversation, and that conversation is regarding possibly terminating the lease to move them to in my opinion, a better location. I'm also open to the community letting me know there's another building that could work, that would be secure, that would have playgrounds, that would have classrooms, that would have all that, gymnasiums. I think we all know, and I know several people have mentioned, when we close the old school, what are we going to use it for? And I think this is something that we can still keep in our community. It's not going to turn over to a business or a company it's going to benefit us. But that's, personally, those are my opinions. That's my feeling. But I will keep everyone informed. Like I said, right now our next meeting is honestly to talk with the school district, to have Boys and Girls Club have that introduction, to have their questions answered. They're also reaching out to their board and getting all the information. So I will keep everyone in the loop, and everyone has my phone number and email and knows where we are. So please don't hesitate to reach out, and I appreciate people letting me know what is going on. So thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
If I can just also address with Mark, and Mark, you can pile on from the commissioner, because just prior to the bridge dedication that we had, I had this conversation with the commissioner. This was during the time frame that we lost the funding that we had for the community center, where it went back into the general fund. And we had talked about utilizing Bennett. Of course, the transition to the high school hadn't happened at that time. In my conversation with the commissioner, he was going to discuss it with Clark County. He did follow up with them, and I believe their first pushback was they were going to maintain the building, and they were not going to give it to us. So it seems like possibly there's been some work and stuff that's been done since that time frame to make that happen, because from a financial standpoint, it's a a wise thing to do for the school district, because there is a cost involved in maintaining and securing, because it has to be secured as well, which it isn't yet at this point. And the commissioner and I had that conversation. So I do think there's been some behind the scenes. That was brought up to me, I believe Ashlyn and Bob Bilbray brought up, when that money disappeared that they had gained for the community center, brought up about doing that. And I mentioned it to the commissioner back at the bridge dedication. And the first pushback, from what I understood, was that Clark County was the school district was gonna try and maintain the building. So that seems to have changed, because it's just a very wise solution to utilize those buildings.
Yes, and I think some of that might have changed, but that's what I'm looking forward to, because I don't want to speak for the school district because they're an arm of us, but that's what our next meeting is scheduled to have, those representatives speak directly to the Boys and Girls Club, to have them be able to ask all those questions, make sure everything is correct. And yes, with the building, with that funding, what that would have paid for would have been so tiny. It would be honestly be the size of like a storage closet for what we would get for what the dollars are for today. So being able to utilize more space, like commissioners pushing me to get gym equipment in there to really make it a community center, make it more useful, make it feel like a community center. And I don't know if I mentioned this before, but also we could open it up as a cooling center, because right now it's not a cooling center because of the security risk. So, and that's another very close location to our residents. They don't have to go up to Bruce Woodbury. Like it's truthfully in walking distance from a lot of our residents in that dire need if you need to go to community center. So those are a lot of things that we could expand, and we could even look at making our community center more available to be rented out, to use for weddings or parties, because if you have more space. So there's a lot of options on the table, but we want to make sure that Boys and Girls Club we're not leaving them high and dry. That's why we're starting that conversation. We're working through it. We're figuring out what we can do as a team to keep them as a part of our community, because we want them to succeed, and I know they want us to succeed. And I hear it from our seniors every day. They've got no room, that the knitters are being too loud for the card players, and it's hard. Like we need that space. We need to have a good community center that, in my opinion, grows the community itself. So, yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions for the board, or? Okay,
Thank you.
So I'll jump to the rest of my updates. First I want to thank Metro and the fire department. I know July 4th is always a difficult holiday. I know we had a few incidents, but overall, I believe we did a really good job, as always, protecting our community and celebrating safely. So, and then if you want to bring up the presentation, we're very excited to announce our annual Health and Wellness Fair. I don't know if anyone saw, there was a big poster board in the front door. We're going to have this Saturday, August 2nd. It'll be at Spirit Mountain Activity Center. It's going to be 10 to 11:30. UMC is a huge partner with us. They bring booster seats, child passenger safety, CPR demonstration, blood pressure screenings. One of my favorite things is a dental screening will be there. So we're actually going to have the full dental screening van, which I don't know if anyone saw it last year at the school, but it's a huge 16-wheeler that just gets parked there. They're going to park there from 10 a.m. to about 3 p.m. So what they'll do is, if anyone has any dental work they need done, please come, please sign up. They will see you in the chair. When you go in there, it's mind-blowing. It's an office on wheels. There's a waiting room. It's not done poor, like it's very calm. They have like 3 or 4 chairs. They have cleanings. They do all kinds of stuff. What they'll do is they'll do like screenings and then bring you back. And then usually what we do is we plan future deployments. So we kind of get people in, we get them signed up, and then we do future deployments, but also we can do certificates to go to like Boulder City and just get work done. It's all free at this, so please use it. We've had a lot of people who have told us, wow, this is incredible free service that they get all this dental work. So let your friends, family know. They will be there from about 10 to 3. But like I said, they can also schedule you out for future ones or to go to other partner areas and all that. So that's really exciting. We're going to have our local partners there. Clark County will be there with resources. One thing I totally forgot to say is we will have backpacks for every student with a notebook and pads. So those will be there. We should have one for every student, but it also is why supplies last. But there will be a lot of goodies to give out to get everyone ready for the school year that starts 10 days after, or 11 days after that. So if you have any questions, just call our office. It'll be at Spirit Mountain Activity Center. Last year it was at the school when we did the ribbon cutting. So please please don't go to the elementary school, go to the new one. Our new principal, I met with him, he's going to also be there as well, so we're really fostering a new relationship and getting that there. So we're very excited for it. If you have any questions or want to know more services, please don't hesitate to reach out to our office. So, and then last thing, I know I mention this every time, but I know we're in a heat wave these next few days, so please check on your neighbors. Please make sure you are the Legion, the library. You can go into our community center, but please make sure you're being safe. Don't stay in your house if your air conditioner goes out. Call our office, call Silver Rider, they'll pick you up. Like, please be smart about it because we're getting high temperatures. So, and with that, and one last thing. I know I just got this, you've probably heard that August 4th is the mandatory microchips. I've spoken with animal control. I know we do in February, we do an animal vaccination clinic where they did microchips. We're going to have one in Searchlight. We're still finalizing the date. It might be September, October. We will have ours in February here, which I think is viable to be able to get it at that event. But they're doing there's a flyer in the back. It's about $5 if you need to get your pet microchips. So that's a new mandate that's come through that's going to really help. We get it a lot on July 4th, the biggest time we lose animals, and people don't have the microchips. So this is going to help us to connect people back with their pets. And also a big thing, please, if you do get a microchip, please register it. Because if you don't register it, it doesn't do anything for us. So a lot of people get it and then they don't register it and it doesn't work. So this also, please be aware that code, if they do catch your dog when they're escape or anything, they will scan and see if they have a microchip. And if they don't have a microchip, you will be getting a fine. So this is to help our pet population and our community and all that. So if you have any questions, let us know. I will work with animal control to let them know that we do ours in February, and then we have one in Searchlight. So if people are not getting them before the August 4th, I think we should be okay. But please make every effort you can to do it. So, yeah.
I was just going to add, with the microchipping being $5, and you're aware there's a fee for filing and then an ongoing annual fee for those. And I think that may be some of the pushback and the reason why people get them, but they don't register them. Because I obviously have a lot of dogs.
Sure.
So, and that runs $35 to do the initial, and then each year it's like $20 per dog. So I don't know if there's, with this being mandated now, if there's going to be something county-wise, government-wise, to help low-income people with pets to be able to afford the ongoing that.
I can definitely talk with Animal Protective Services and see what that, I wasn't aware of that. So, yeah, that's a very good point. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's really why that they don't. It's $35 home again and to file it, and then an annual fee after that.
Perfect. Thank you. And with that, those are all my updates. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, receive an awards presentation from the Laughlin Rotary to honor a first responder for their dedication and contributions to the Laughlin community.
Fred, you're a Rotarian. You want to sit?
Say again?
You're a Rotarian. Do you want to come up here?
Not really, but I will.
Not really. Good afternoon.
Navigation with these giant chairs now.
As president of the Rotary Club of Laughlin, it is my honor to welcome you to this special presentation of our Service Above Self Distinguished Action Award for Q2 2025. This recognition is part of our Community Positive Influence program, which celebrates individuals and organizations that contribute to the strengths, safety, and spirit of our community. Today, we shine a spotlight on 3 remarkable commercial tourism entities who have demonstrated outstanding dedication to public service, cross-community collaboration, and support for their first responders throughout the tri-state region. Each of these honorees has embraced the Rotary ideal of service above self, not just in words, but through their daily actions. Their willingness to contribute time, resources, and initiative to enhance the well-being of both residents and visitors exemplifies what it means to be a true community partner. We are proud to recognize these businesses not only for their collaborations and contributions to local tourism and economic growth, but for their shared commitment to safety, service, and stewardship of the Colorado River experience. In the spirit of Rotary and with deep appreciation, we now honor them individually for their exceptional service this quarter. Our first presentation will be to River Passage Water Taxis. Our first honoree today has been a vital part of the Colorado River community for over 2 decades. Since 2004, River Passage Water Taxis has served as much more than a convenient means of transportation between casinos. They have been an essential part of the Laughlin and Bullhead City experience, offering not just a ride, but a memorable journey along one of the most beautiful stretches of the river of the Southwest. Their vessels are all Coast Guard certified, inspected annually, and helmed by licensed captains who are not only skilled pilots, but ambassadors for our region. These captains take pride in their work, representing our community with professionalism, courtesy, and unwavering commitment to safety. What sets River Passage apart is not just their service, it's their selfless action. Over the years, their captains have quickly responded to countless emergencies on the river, assisting distressed swimmers, pulling individuals from overturned personal watercraft, and helping people stranded on docks or dangerous currents, and contacting emergency services when needed. And they do it all without seeking recognition, simply because it's the right thing to do. In honoring River Passage Water Taxis, we celebrate a team that exemplifies service above self every day. With deep gratitude, we thank you for being a steady, caring, and courageous presence on our river, and for always putting the well-being of others first. Congratulations. Yes, we'll get everybody together. Our next honoree has turned a family legacy into a life-saving mission. Rocky River Adventures. Rocky River Adventures, operated by the Chiodini family, has become a vital force for safety and responsibility on the Colorado River. From their central location in one of the busiest recreational corridors in the region, their team provides far more than rentals. They provide protection, prevention, and peace of mind. Bree and Trevor Chiodini, long-standing advocates for safe and responsible recreation, have built their family-run businesses around 3 core principles: safety, service, and community impact. Their presence along the river is a stabilizing force, and their watercraft safety advisors are often called into action daily, assisting stranded, inexperienced, and distressed boaters with professionalism, urgency, and care. This commitment to service is general. Their son Tyler, alongside with his wife Hannah, have taken on the daily operations of Rocky River, continuing the family's mission with specialized training in water safety and emergency response. Their other son, Alec, now leads TTR Motorsports, but remains closely involved in river rescue efforts. A defining moment of their impact occurred recently when a 12-year-old boy was pulled from the water, from the bottom of the river, unconscious and unresponsive. Thanks to the Chiodini family, quick actions and immediate application of life-saving techniques, that a child survived. It was just one of the many acts of courage that on their part of their daily lives. In addition to these hands-on rescues, the Chiodinis work behind the scenes to improve river safety policies and awareness through efforts like the River Flow Committee, co-founded and chaired by Bria Chiodini. For the Chiodinis, protecting life on the river is not just a duty, it's a calling. It's a way of life passed down through the generations and shared generously with the entire community. Today, we recognize Rocky River Adventures for their extraordinary dedication, selfless service, and lifelong impact. You truly represent service above self, and we thank you for all you do in this community. Congratulations. We have some pretty badass people up here. That's the headline. Oh. I can't believe it. These people are amazing. Next, our third honoree is the Riverside Resort River Shuttle. Our third honoree represents a company whose legacy on the river runs deep, not just through hospitality, but through connection and consistency. The Riverside Resort River Shuttle has become a trusted link between communities on both sides of the Colorado River, offering convenient and reliable transportation to guests, visitors, and locals. While its core function is mobility, its greater value lies in what it connects: business, families, public events, and riverfront life. Operated as a part of the Riverside Resort family, the shuttle service reflects the same principles that have defined the Laughlin experience for generations: service, hospitality, and care. Its team works tirelessly, often under intense summer conditions, to ensure safe, comfortable passage along the river, while also supporting public safety efforts during major events and high-traffic weekends. Beyond its regular operations, the Riverside Shuttle crew has stepped in to assist with river emergencies, unexpected breakdowns, and moments when their presence quite literally bridged the gap between potential crisis and calm resolution. Like the other recipients today, they perform their acts not for praise, but because they believe in doing the right thing for the community that they serve. In honoring the Riverside Resort River Shuttle, we recognize the role that they play in keeping our river connected, protected, and moving forward, one safe crossing at a time. Congratulations, and thank you for your enduring commitment to service above self. In closing, the Rotary Club of Laughlin extends our heartfelt appreciation to all three of the honorees today: River Passage Water Taxis, Rocky River Adventures, and Riverside Resort River Shuttle. Each of you has shown that it truly means to serve with integrity, compassion, and commitment. Your actions have protected lives, strengthened community bonds, and uplifted the spirits of this region. And I know our first responders back there can share a few stories, but we don't have time for that. There's so many. May your example continue to inspire others across the river and beyond. Thank you and congratulations once again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like preschoolers.
Yeah.
Space them like preschoolers. Yeah.
Everybody, big smiles. 1, 2, 3, go. One more. 1, 2, 3. I got you before I said 3.
It's usually better that way.
It is. Yeah. Congratulations to all of you. Now we'll receive a report from Lieutenant Rogers with Metro Police regarding activity and statistics during the past month and other area crime concerns.
All right, good afternoon, Lieutenant Rogers with Metro. Happy to be here. It's good to hear from Mark there that the Boys and Girls Club is not closing down, so I did cancel the SWAT team response to the meeting here. A lot of passionate people in the community have a lot of things to say, but like I said, we're very happy that it's not closing, so we're moving on to bigger and positive things. So one of our goals with Metro is to do a lot of community events, so we do spend time there at the Boys and Girls Club Senior Center, so we do try to incorporate them into things that we do. So first, I'll go over some of our community events. So tomorrow, speaking of Boys and Girls Club and community events, we're doing a snow cone event, and we're also bringing McGruff the Crime Dog will be there for anyone who wants to take pictures. So 4:30 to 5:30 tomorrow at the Laughlin Community Church, and the best part is it's indoors and the ice is there on property. So we're bringing our snow cone machine, so come by. It's open for the public. You don't have to be a kid or even a member of their denomination of their church to be there. It's open to the entire community. Best part is it's indoors, so hopefully everyone's able to make it. We do have flyers on the back wall, and it's also on our social media, so hopefully everybody's following the LVMPD Laughlin station on Facebook and Instagram. We do try to update as much as possible. Other events, so Wednesday, July 23rd is our blood drive. We've had a lot of success. Those do sell out, so if you're able to make an appointment, I would suggest doing that online. From the last 4 or 5 that I've been to, they were not able to seat anybody that came in on like a walk-in basis because it's such good success here in Laughlin. So that'll be right here in this meeting room, and later in the fall we are taking our blood donations on the road. So you may see us at the church or the marina or at the mall. So we're just trying to get it out into the community a little bit more. We do love people coming here. But I think that's the good thing with our community events is also getting them out in the community. So if anyone's able to do that. Just kind of a save the date. I'll give the date of our next couple of Coffee with the Cops. That way people can kind of plan around that. On Wednesday, August 13th at 11, we'll be down at Bikini Bay Sports Bar and Grill. Jim Gish is one of our big donors for our Shop with a Cop. We wouldn't be able to buy the Christmas presents that we do for the kids without his support. So we want to be down there just to show his business a little support and be there in the community and have a good visual on Casino Drive. It's kind of tough to pick locations on Casino Drive if we're not inside of a casino. So this is a good spot where people from the community come enjoy a meal that will be there with them. As far as September, I know it's a couple months away. September 10th at 11 a.m. we'll be at the Laughlin Community Clinic. Those that have not been to that location yet, we think it's another good way to kind of show them some good support and FaceTime with the community. So we'll be at the Laughlin Community Clinic on South Point Drive Wednesday, the September 10th. So that's kind of our events we have coming up in the next future. We will be at Mark's community event, back to school event on the 2nd. I'll have some officers there. We too will also have some backpacks, school supplies to give away in conjunction with the county, which some other donors in the community that like to donate to us that we love to give back to the kids for school supplies and stuff. So we'll also be there. All right, on to the fun stuff. As far as stats, we're pretty much right on par from last year. June of 2024, we handled 319 calls for service, just a slight increase, about 5% to 336 calls for service. As a total, our station wrote 121 traffic violations. We made 2 arrests for DUI. We made a total of 6 arrests for battery domestic violence. Our Tucker booking facility between Metro and all the other jurisdictions that use it had 31 bookings. And then we also made arrest on 3 juveniles but those were not booked here. We had to take them to Vegas for the juvie processing. Other than that, as far as all the casinos go, calls are pretty much on par for what we see month to month. And we had a good, safe and sane 4th of July. It's obviously busy, but nothing overwhelming. All right, any questions from the board?
Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
Just out of curiosity, and this was just in my mindset before all of this about boys and girls, because of the Bennett Elementary, what type of calls are you still having there?
I mean, I can pull up that event number specifically. A lot of times it's
But
just...
nothing that comes right to mind as a serious issue or anything
Oh,
like
no,
that?
no.
Just,
I mean, it's obviously kind of off the beaten path to get into the parking lot there. You have to kind of want to go there. So
Yeah, and
obviously
try
the
hard.
school is closed, so our officers do patrol it pretty regularly. So it could have just been some people sitting in the parking lot or some teenagers goofing off, and we just asked them to politely leave.
I see.
So it could just be something as simple as that. But as far as specifics, I can get it to you if you want.
Not necessarily. I was just wondering if there was anything off the top of your head.
No, like we haven't, thank goodness, haven't had any like break-ins or any damage or vandalization. It's been actually very quiet for that large of a footprint being unoccupied. It's been very quiet.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that's what I was curious about.
I'm curious about, I've noticed a little bit of graffiti, and we haven't had those issues. There by South Point, the speed limit sign, somebody took black paint. I saw a little bit of more graffiti down that road. Are you seeing an increase in that, or, Because I haven't seen that for a while here.
Yeah, actually, the power box that was right out here at 163, when I pull into the station, I saw it there, and I actually had one of my officers go out the same day and paint over it instead of waiting for a county response. So we do actually proactively paint over graffiti. The big thing, we just want to take a picture of it so we can document it. A lot of kids or delinquents that graffiti, they're actually more or less writing their name on the wall. So we do have a book, and we document it, and have a decent success of tracking the person down. So
Right.
yeah, if you see graffiti, definitely call us.
Okay.
If it's on like your block wall and you want to paint over it, and because you're responsible for it, all we ask is that you just take a picture, and it can be on your phone, and you can upload it and text it to us right away. But yeah, don't feel like you have to wait for a police response to cover over it.
Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else?
Any other questions?
All right, thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you. Receive a report from Sergeant Tim Waller with Nevada Highway Patrol regarding activity and statistics during the last month and other public safety concerns. My arms aren't quite long
Good
enough.
afternoon. Sergeant Tim Waller, Nevada Highway Patrol, Laughlin and Searchlight. 4th of July went pretty smooth. No major issues between here and Las Vegas, so we're happy about that. Month of June 2025, we conducted 459 traffic stops, issued 440 citations. We had 48 commercial inspections and 4 crashes. Nothing serious, all pretty minor property damage crashes. 5 arrests, one of them was a DUI. And then with the other calls and stuff, we had about 625 contacts for the entire month. That's it. Any questions?
No, still going on until November is what we know.
On the construction?
On the construction.
Yeah, so they kind of got to a point where, they painted some temporary lines, but they're doing a lot of extra work with drainage and some sidewalk stuff in the Searchlight area. They'll come back through and cap it, so I think they're on schedule. They're not extended or anything. So yeah, you can expect continued construction through there.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Receive a report from Clark County Fire Department regarding calls for service during the past month and other prior fire prevention issues.
Hello, Board. Mike Hutcherson with the Clark County Fire Department, Captain there. June from 2024 to 2025, we had a 5% increase from 251 to 267 for service calls. Our most significant event the last month was at Harris. We had a brush fire out there, burned about 2 acres right where you enter when you come down the hill. We were out there for about 6 hours because it was windy, and it kept lighting back up. We did have a house fire where we provided service to the Indian reservation on the golf course there. They had a house on fire. We went down there. It was windy that day as well. Protected the other houses and put the fire out. Those were our most significant events of June. We did have some things during the 4th of July, but I'll get into that next month. Any questions at all for me?
Madam Chair.
No,
Right, thank you very much.
sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Just out of curiosity, did we have our watercraft out on the 4th? And I know the boat was down.
The boat's down, but we
for-
did have our jet skis out. And on June 3rd, I'll get a little bit ahead of myself for next month, but June 3rd, we had a young man on Lake Mojave who had an accident on his jet ski, fractured his skull. He was unconscious in the river. People saw it happen, pulled him out. We arrived, called for the helicopter, flew him to UMC. He is going to recover. He's going to have some rehab and stuff, but it was a really nice life saved by a lot, the community involved as well. And we did get the information on those people. We'd like to, at some point, say thank you to them.
Yep. Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Receive a report from Jason Bailey with Big Bend Water District regarding the status of the water system.
Hello, good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Jason Bailey with the Big Bend Water District. Appreciate Ms. Whitehead's question. I just wanted to respond to her. I'm assuming she's referring to the article from the Laughlin Times on June 25th about some federal funding for water infrastructure. And really, regarding the timeline, we've stated 18 to 24 months. Our engineers generally take a conservative approach to estimates. regarding timelines and costs. And again, this is always two-part with design and engineering, construction. And this, of course, is all once funding materializes from that federal funding. So it is a conservative approach. Hopefully that can be done in less time. As far as the report for the month, our water use total diversions for June is 267 acre feet. Total diversions year to date is 1,529 compared to last year at this time, 1,457. So water diversions are slightly up. Our water system update, staff repaired the treatment plant's finished water pump number 1 and the motor. They were pretty corroded, and so those have been repaired, and they are now currently working on the finished water pump number 3, its column pipe and the motor. So these repairs will add to the function and reliability of the treatment plant as well as the distribution system. There were no new development inquiries this last month, and as far as a financial update for fiscal year to date through May 31st, the Big Bend Water District's accumulated debt balance has decreased from fiscal year end's balance of 3.47 to 2.19. So we have, of course, the fiscal year ended just a few days ago, June 30th, so we hope to have maybe some unaudited numbers as far as the end of the fiscal year. But you can see that there has been a positive decrease, right, in that accumulated debt balance. And then just an update on the funding that was in the article about the federal funding. I just wanted to give an update on that. As you all know, this is kind of championed by Congressman Lee, but I did want to report that both Senator Cortez Masto and Senator Rosen have also submitted the Big Bend Water Storage Tank Improvement Project for consideration. So both the House and the Senate have submitted for this. So kind of the next date is actually July 10th, so just a couple days from now is when the House Appropriations Committee will kind of select from their list of what to move forward or not. So we should have a report on that following that date. And then I have a few colleagues with me here today. I just wanted to introduce one of them to you, Bronson Mack. He's our Public Services Manager. I know many of you know Bronson, and I just wanted to give him a few minutes for some information for the board.
Good afternoon. Bronson Mack, 1001 South Valley View, here on behalf of the Big Bend Water District and Las Vegas Valley Water District. And I'm here today to inform the board and the community that the Big Bend Water District will be holding 3 public workshops in the coming weeks. It is time for us to engage the community and have that difficult discussion about water rates. And, you know, we're at the start of the fiscal year here, July 1 being that start. And the consideration for an increase to the water rates is prudent at this time. We have identified about $9.7 million of improvements, repairs, refurbishment that really need to be done to various aspects of the water system and a lot at the treatment plant itself over the next decade. And I'm talking about making replacements to elements of the water treatment facility, the ozone generators that actually generate the ozone to be able to disinfect and clean the water before it is delivered, refurbishment of pipes and pumps. We just heard from Jason, you know, they've made a couple of repairs on some of the finished water pumps. We also have repairs that need to take place, or refurbishment that needs to take place on the raw water pumps out at the Riverside area, as well as new screens for the intake. I know we've reported to you numerous times challenges in trying to keep those screens clear and clean over the years. And then there's some other pipes and pumps with your pumping facilities that could really stand to improve their efficiency through refurbishment. So the water system remains reliable. I want to make sure that that is clear. I mean, I know that in the recent report in the Laughlin Times that had indicated or characterized the system as outdated. You have a very reliable water system. And that is because we have been able to make investments since the Las Vegas Valley Water District assumed operation of the Big Bend Water District, which again had been previously operated by the Clark County Sanitation District at the time, now known as the Clark County Water Reclamation District. So while it remains reliable, making these investments over the next 10 years in making these improvements is going to be a proactive approach, proactive refurbishment, proactive replacement. We have equipment, we have facilities, we have infrastructure. It is beginning to reach the end of its service life. And you have the option to run it to fail and then have to deal with the consequences of making those repairs and the impacts that has for the community, or being proactive in making these repairs and making these investments to manage these assets. And furthermore, we just heard from Jason, and I know that this board is well aware of the fact that the Big Bend Water District has been operating in a financial deficit since about 2018. And, the water district here has been backstopped. It's been backstopped by the Las Vegas Valley Water District, backstopped by the ratepayers in Las Vegas. And at the budget workshop that was held earlier this spring with the Board of Trustees, staff was directed to go ahead and move forward with taking the steps to evaluate the water system needs, evaluate the water rate needs, and make those adjustments so that this community and this water system has the appropriate funding levels that it needs to continue to sustain itself going forward. So that's the intent of these workshops that we will be having here in the coming weeks. We've really attempted to try and schedule these workshops at varying times so that it provides everybody an opportunity to come to hear the full overview of what the system needs are, to hear the proposals associated with the water rate change, and to provide comment on input on these various proposals. So those 3 workshops, we do have a flyer in the back that has the dates and times and locations listed so everybody can take one. But for the record, I will go ahead and just inform this board. The first workshop will be on Saturday, July 19th. So that's not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. That'll be at 10 a.m. And that will be held at the Laughlin Library at 2840 South Needles Highway. The second workshop will be on Monday, July 21st. That'll be an afternoon workshop at 2 p.m. right here at the Laughlin Government Center, 101 Civic Way. And then the third workshop will be on Tuesday, August 5th. That'll be an evening workshop at 5:30, and that'll also be at the Laughlin Library. And again, we really did try and get some varying times here to be able to accommodate everybody's schedule. We will provide that full overview of system needs as well as the rate proposals. And then we will also have staff that'll be available. Our finance team will be there, our engineering team, our ops team, be there and available to answer any questions. We will also have information on our website, bigbendwaterdistrict.com, related to this, and you will also be able to provide comment and input through our website. So if you can't attend a workshop, we understand. We will have some information available on the website to provide people a little more flexibility to provide that input. And then we will come back to this board. We expect to come back to this board in August. And we will share with you what was heard at the workshops, what the comments were, and what the intent is going forward. Then it would eventually move on to the Board of Trustees at some point in the future. So August would be our next time to come back to this board and then share with you, again, what we heard at the workshops. So that's the update, concludes our update for today, and appreciate your time.
Sure. I have a few questions, and Jason as well. The first thing, in last month's meeting with Will Smith, I had asked The reports that you give us, and this is a mundane thing, but with you here, it'd be helpful, is given in acre feet, where the sanitization district is given in million gallons per day.
Sure.
So what I was going to ask if there is a way, so we're looking at apples and oranges, and, I mean, yes, that can be figured out, but there's a math solution behind that. And if I asked Will Smith to put acre feet as well as millions gallons per day, and if you guys could do that with your report, because that would really clarify it, that it's the same thing. If you could just add that, I know you have a formula in your system that converts it like that.
Yeah, and I can actually give it to you. 1 acre foot is 325,851. 325,851 gallons. So you can just multiply that by the number of acre feet, and that's going to give you gallons.
Right.
That'll give it to you in gallons.
But just if going forward, if we could get that, because these reports go to us, but they also go to your constituency. And then I have a couple more, but Fred, if you need some. Yep.
Well, my interest is not diversion, is demand. How much water are we using, and how much water is going back into the river? The demand is more important. I don't care how much water you bring in, because there's going to be losses going through the plant. There's going to be evaporation in the tanks. But how much water is actually being pumped into the houses, buildings? That's what I'm interested in.
I know you had asked that question last month,
Yeah.
and you and I spoke on the phone and there were some additional questions. So we're gathering that data, that information. I hope to have something to you shortly. But is that something moving forward that you would want reported diversions as well as
Yes.
demand?
Please.
Okay.
I think I speak for everyone on the board.
Yes.
Okay. And then just a couple more questions. I think, Fred, you and I both sat on the last board that you had for ratepayers, or when we looked at, what year was that, 2017?
2017, you are correct.
Yeah, where we did that. You had several members of the community. So you're holding public meetings. Will you be doing that type of situation again, where you have the public involved, making the rate changes because you brought down your financial people, laid out where the funding was coming from, and what the projects, once you had delineated the projects that you expected to go forward that were in need, then you figured out the mathematical formula via rates or connection fees to pay for that. And that's where we did do a rate increase. However, I just want to know if these meetings are going to lead to that same format, because what you had said is that it was going to go up before the board, those recommendations. So there won't be us trying to solve the problem.
So we will be holding the public workshops, taking public comment, and taking public feedback. When we did the committee last time, one of the things that we heard, and while that was a very effective process, one of the things that we heard was folks felt like they weren't included in that process. So, and sometimes we hear that when we have a citizens committee. So for this evaluation of this potential rate increase, we're doing the full open workshops, inviting all of the community to come and provide that input so that we can be responsive to some of what we heard last time. So yeah, that'll be the process. Once we solidify those meetings and those are done and we get those comments, again, we will come back to this board. We will provide an overview for you and give you the same information. Now, each of these workshops will be the same workshop, so you don't need to attend all three.
I see.
It's, you only really need to attend one to be able to get the overview. And we certainly would invite members of this board to attend in your capacity as citizens here in Laughlin and decision makers and ratepayers as well to participate in that and provide comment. So.
Okay, all right.
That
And
answer it for
then
you?
the one question, if you're going to hold a public forum, you're going to have to address the 800-pound gorilla in the room. Honestly, that deals with, you and I go back a long time.
We do.
and many years. So we have to address the surplus that we turned over to you, close to $10 million in 2008 from the Big Bend Water District that was to go to our water tanks. That was never done. And this board and community weren't made aware of that. That's going to come up to the public. So
That's fine, and not to, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
but you
Please
have to
finish.
address financially, that is an aspect as well. That doesn't go away because you look at the water system today and the things where it currently is, where it needs to be done, because there's still the 800-pound gorilla in the room that says, you know, those tanks still have to be built because we are in a deficit and we can no longer, you know, continue to add new properties.
Well, certainly when the Las Vegas Valley Water District was asked by Clark County to assume operation of the Big Bend Water District, you are correct. There was a good, healthy surplus of balance. I believe it was in the neighborhood of $8 million. Those dollars were invested into this water system for the time that we were operating, from assuming that operation in 2008 until we had the last rate decision in 2017. A lot of improvements were made at that point, one of which the critical high point that was detected when we created the first hydraulic model for the Big Bend Water District. After we assumed that operation, we identified that high point in Casino Drive, that being a ticking time bomb in the event of a fire occurrence that would have happened within the Casino Drive or within the resort corridor. We would have had such a pressure differential within the system that that pipe going up that elevation on Casino Drive, it would have collapsed. So we corrected that. That was a huge investment. I believe that one was on the neighborhood of $2.2 million to install that dual pipeline and do the upsizing there to repair that. But certainly we have shared with this board and with many of you even individually when we have met with you in the past about those various projects and improvements that were made with those dollars that were part of the loan that the Big Bend Water District received, Clark County Sanitation District at the time, acquired through the state. That loan was just recently paid off in entirety as of last year, which is a nice financial benefit, and that's why we obviously see a little bit of improvement within the funding deficit that Jason just reported. But what we need to look at is we need to look at not only these current projects and improvements that need to be made, but really getting Big Bend on a path to having more stable revenue to be able to build those reserves. It is not a matter of if the unexpected will happen with this water system, it is a matter of when. And the last one that we had that was quite significant was in 2018, again, in the resort corridor. That resulted in a boil water order for this community. We made that repair within about 10 hours, I believe, of that leak occurring, but this community still had to stay under a boil water order for 48 additional hours. That was 3 days under boil water order, and that's just based on the statute of all of the testing that you have to do and get all of the clearance and all of the protocols before that boil water order will be lifted by the state. So that is part of the effort here in evaluating the water rates and having this dialogue with the community during the 3 workshops.
Okay. And so just so I'm clear, just to explain, both Fred and I were Public Works at the time.
Oh, I
When the
remember.
water,
Yeah, on the committee.
and so that's why we know that it had been clearly called out to do the water tanks when we gave the surplus over. But let me tell you what happened in our minds in that time frame, because the downturn of the economy happened, 2008, 2009, 2010. And what our little minds don't know is this whole federal regulation of building in a deficit, which was allowed. That was way beyond my purview of what happens with water. And we assumed the water tanks weren't being built because everything got smaller. We weren't doing all these developments and things like that. So at least in my mind, I wasn't going back at the water district and saying, where are our water tanks? Why is that not being done? Because even our population got smaller. We watched D.R. Horton pull out. I mean, there were a lot of things that were no longer happening in the community. So logically, it made sense that, oh, we don't need those water towers, you know, but what we didn't know is the federal guidelines that we had been given a grandfather clause or an exemption to be able to build in a deficit to an extent, but we were never made aware once we reached that point. And I believe the Big Bend Water District or Las Vegas Valley Water District was made aware of that in 2016. But when we held that meeting for the ratepayers, we weren't aware of it then. So that money was never addressed because it was roughly gone like a year later, that surplus. So what I'd like to see, I don't think you can hold these meetings and say, I need $9.7 million in adjustments to, or funding for maintenance issues for our water system and not address the water tanks as well. You can't put that out there to the public. I understand you have to maintain it, but then I think to be fair and transparent with the public, you have to say 9.7 million plus our water tanks are 20 million or 50 million or what have you, and here's what we've looked at for, because that has to be addressed as well. It's not like you can just address the maintenance but not the capital improvements. I run my company that way. I have an allocation, a general ledger allocation for maintenance and for capital improvements. You have to do the same, and the public needs to be made aware of that. And possibly we have to find a solution. We've looked at NGOs, we've looked at government funding, and when we had that meeting or that team last time, you brought in your financial people, your grant people, and everything, and gave us a wide choice to choose from, and that I liked that process very much so, and especially given the drama that we've had with this system.
Well, Ms. Oaks, you might be pleased to hear that I can tell you at least one of the rate scenarios that we are looking at does include the funding of a tank.
I just want to be sure we address it. We have to. It's only fair.
Certainly, and I think that's a fair conversation and dialogue to have with the community through this process.
Okay. Thank you.
Go ahead, Fred.
Bronson, as she said, we've known each other for a long time, and I want you to know your hair has changed color.
And some of us have
fading
much
back
less
here
of it.
too. Fred, I'm in trouble.
My big concern right now is the capping of the well that you guys dug. And I don't fully understand why that was done. I read the letter and it don't make sense, but the thing that really bothers me, at 700 gallons a minute, that gives us 1 million gallons of water a day. And that can be used as a supplement for storage. So by capping that off, we lost 1 million gallons of storage. And that don't make sense to me. And I don't understand how that engineering decision was made.
So I'd be happy to follow back up with you on that. I would just need to talk with our engineers, Mr. Doughton, before I spoke publicly on that.
I'm Fred, by the way.
I do, all right, thanks, Fred. I do know that you had received some information from us. I'm more than happy to go back and take a look at that and have a follow-up with you directly, or even have that conversation during the workshops with you, no problem.
And I'll send you an email with my real questions.
That sounds great, please do. Yeah. Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you.
Good afternoon, Robert Belbray, representing the Laughlin Economic Development Corporation. On the same, similar, and related matter, I happened to be here when Jim Gans in the sanitation district, and I believe Kathy Oaks was too. We never had problems like this. We never had a situation where there's absolute massive growth taking place across the river, and we have nothing more than a Family Dollar in 4 years. Somebody's got to answer that question to all of our lenders, both institutional lenders and municipal lenders. The Water District has lost any credibility in the whole tri-state area. Now, case in point, I want to hand out a letter that was delivered to all the property owners regarding the surface improvements on Casino Drive.
Surface or service?
Surface improvements on Casino Drive from Harrah's to the Needles Highway. This was handed out on the 27th of May. And I've been waiting for, I've been waiting for a response from Public Works.
Thank you.
Thanks, I got, no, yeah.
The reason for me bringing this up at the present time, as each of our board knows, I strongly warned everyone as to the massive impact by the failure of water service in this community. We have now lost the majority of private lenders. We know the municipal lending pool is not interested in Laughlin. We've got examples all over the place. Now, this letter, dated the 27th, I want to make sure the board understands the position that the Water District has placed. It was written to my company, which owns approximately 11% of the entire length between the Laughlin Bay Marina and Harrah's. There's approximately 26 property owners. It is basically a standard no cut for 5 years letter from Public Works. And again, there are no improvements to wet utilities, water or wastewater, included in this proposal. This is surface improvements only on Casino Drive. Bring your attention to the basic, what it basically says is the property owners are, if they want to cut and stub into the new roadway, if they don't have their design plans done and are prepared to do so prior to the timelines of putting down the roadway, that they will not be, there'll be a 5-year no-cut policy. So that means if they don't move now, they'll have to pay for, they won't be able to cut into the surface way. Now, that's an excellent thing. It's worked all over the county. I have no objection with the 5-year no-cut policy. I do have a situation where 85% of this roadway comprises 23 to 25 private property owners being asked to go out and design, stubs, zone, and construct within a certain time frame all their stub outs into the property while they have no assurance of any water service.
Of water, correct. Yeah, that's what so basically this delays everything another 5 years.
So I would like to direct your attention to page 2 under project numbers and anticipated project schedule. We can see that Public Works, Water Reclamation, Nevada Energy, Southwest Gas all have dates. If you'll notice, the Las Vegas Valley Water District has no date. And the reason it has no date is because it doesn't know.
I think we have page 2.
Pardon? It's on page 2.
Do we?
I don't see anything.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yep.
Bid advertised July 20, bid award.
You know, since May, this is, first of all, let's talk about what we're talking about here. From Harrah's to the marina is some of the most valuable property in the entire state of Nevada, surely within the Laughlin Township. It is critically important to the tax base of this township, critically, and has been. What I'm delivering you today has already been delivered to the county assessor and will impact our evaluations for the 25-26 tax year, which I don't have to tell the board what the impacts on property tax assessments means to this community.
I don't mean to cut you short, Bob.
I
Is there a
would
way
venture to
that we
say-
can get Public Works to come into a meeting and specifically address this?
Yeah, what is the solution to delay this project?
Yeah, no, I can definitely work with Public Works to figure out a time to have them either give us an update or provide myself with an update to provide as well. I would need time to review this because I just got it right now to make sure to find out.
Right, so that we can get someone in
Yeah.
here who can
Well,
speak to the impact
was-
on our
Is the,
utilities.
I
is the
think Mr. Bilberg
solution
for-
delaying the project? Because if they do the so basically, in essence, if they do the surface of the roadway, then nobody can come in. We get the water tower or the water tank
No one
tower
would be able to
in
do a
2
cut.
years, then they still have a 3-year wait before they can cut into that.
What I'm telling you is I doubt if any one of our property owners would spend the time, the effort, the design.
The money,
To,
yep.
to have this in and have to live with a 5-year no-cut policy. They'd
Right.
rather, they'll cut the road up or we won't have development.
This way we can get a better explanation about what's
No,
going
I
on.
don't,
And
sp-
find
I-
out what
like
the
I said,
solution
there's
is.
25 of these property owners between Harrah's and the marina.
Right.
And I only speak for myself, which is probably 8 or 9 properties and about 11% of the entire project.
So at least Bob will bring in Public Works to address.
Thank you.
And see if we can find a solution. If
This is nothing more than I said to this board years ago. When the water district faltered, values crash.
My question would be, is there a solution by delaying the surface roadway project to coincide? I mean, is that a solution, or?
Well, there's no, this is basically funded out of our motor vehicle fuel tax from Public Works and Regional Transportation.
Right.
And usually,
Who's that
in
funding?
all the years that I've lived here, whether it be, we followed this up with a special improvement district, either on Needles Highway, Bruce Woodbury, Casino Drive.
Right.
And the problem is, all those times, the water district sent to the appraisers, you understand you have to have an appraisal when you do special improvement districts. That shows that the benefit is greater than
Right.
than the debt. And they can't give us that now. We have lost public-private partnerships in this community totally. And this community was built on public-private partnerships. Dennis Cedarberg and I were directly related to at least 7 or 8 of them. We've got the lagoon maintenance. We've got flood control with the flood control district. The water district has absolutely crippled public-private partnerships. It's not ever going to happen again until this is resolved. And it's not going to be, as to what Bronson Mack said today, it's very interesting. I would submit to this board, growth pays for growth. Don't ever move from that. And that you don't hear from a developer very often. None of this should or be paid for by our existing residents and ratepayers. So, it all comes down to, let's start looking at the salaries, look at the management agreement of the Las Vegas Valley Water District. The salaries are atrocious.
Yeah.
And everybody in this room knows it.
And this is the first we've been made aware of this, so I think we need to get with some
Well,
people and see what a solution would be.
I will follow up with the board on what the outcome of this after I meet with Dennis Cedarberg. And I was glad to hear there's going to be workshops, but I'm hoping that the topic will be wide open and, not limited to how much are we going to charge us. Our ratepayers, every year, I've always personally supported every rate increase by the Las Vegas Valley Water District or Big Bend Water District or the Clark County Sanitation District. But I've done it with a competitive facts in front of us. When you see the hookup fees and the fees in Laughlin versus the fees in our competing properties in both Needles and Bullhead City,
Right.
it's gonna shock
And
you.
you will have ample opportunity,
And,
I'm sure, to speak to this issue.
We were able to always negotiate an amicable agreement over these 20 years with Dave Johnson, that this, we just won't go over something that makes us non-competitive.
Right, so I
And-
need to
and
cut you off, though, Bob.
I hope everybody understands what I'm saying here.
We do,
I mean,
thank
it
you,
doesn't
Bob.
do any good to open up and build water tanks for fire protection and all this if you're not competitive in the market. The other thing I wanted to let the board know is that I spoke to the commissioner. I offered helped to sit down with Guy Hobbs, who represents both the sanitation district and is very well respected in the county, and try to work out an alternative to fix this problem. We've given the water district 4.5 years. They don't have any way of financing what's needed here. We're talking $300 million. Now, I can tell you that almost every general manager has supported the idea of placing a residential element, retired condominium, on Casino Drive within existing properties, which is a permitted use, would provide substantial number of hookup fees that we're not going to get in additional rooms. And I think that we should look deeply, and I'll be glad to do it at this workshop, we should look deeply on building our way out of this, not waiting for
And
municipal
those are
funding.
options that can be discussed today. I really have to cut you off, Bob.
I'm sorry?
Thank you for bringing all the information, but I've got to cut you off.
Yeah.
We still have a couple more items on the
Thank you
agenda.
very much for
Thank you.
extending the opportunity for me to speak.
Thank you. Receive a report from Will Smith with Clark County Water Reclamation
Is he
District regarding status of the wastewater system.
No, he's
He's
not
not
here.
here, okay. Receive a report from Carrie Larson with Laughlin Chamber of Commerce regarding current and upcoming business activities in Laughlin.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the Town Board. This is our report for last month. We have some ribbon cuttings coming up. We've got Cush on 66. That will actually be down in Needles with one of our newer members. We also have a business breakfast coming on July 25th at 8:30 a.m. This one's going to be interesting. It is Rick Cosgrove, also another new member with Save On Estate Planning, that's going to talk about how to avoid probate. We are working with Renee and Metro on coordinating National Night Out again this year, which will be October 8th. Looking forward to that. And our next big event is the 28th Annual Community Achievement Awards, which will be held November 1st at 5 o'clock at our gracious host, the Aquarius, in the ballroom upstairs. What's important about this is I'm really asking for a call to action here. We need many more nominees for, write this down, number 1, Connie Davis Youth Citizen of the Year Award. So please nominate kids going into their senior year for that award. We need nominations for Nick Sessions Public Service Award. And that one can be honors law enforcement, firefighters, emergency service workers, governmental staff members, department heads, paid, elected, or appointed positions. So it's pretty wide. Excuse me. And last but not least, one of our most important, the Veteran Special Recognition Award. Those are 3 categories that are lacking a few nominations that we need the community's assistance on. We are in the midst right now of coming up with our judges panel to vet all of the nominees for these awards, and that should be another interesting process. It's a lot of fun, and it's great to watch these community members give back to the community like our chairwoman did last year. Thank you. Next up on the agenda will be on November 10th, and that will be Tinsel and Tunes with the Killer Dueling Pianos again this year, which will also be hosted at the Riverside again. We appreciate them coming back for that one. Portion of those proceeds will be donated to the Megan Jackson Silver Rider Toy Drive. And it is on Monday, November 10th. I chose that date, well, because that's when the Killer Dueling Pianos could come, but it worked out great because the next day is a holiday, so no one has to work. You can come enjoy the evening, maybe stay over at the Riverside and gamble a little bit and have a great time and give back to the community.
And attend the Veterans Day program at the Avenue of
Yes,
the
you'll be
Flags.
right there. How convenient. So that's going to be exciting. I will say that If you guys could all keep Ryan from the Killer Dueling Pianos in your prayers. He just finished his last round of chemo last night, and he has a couple rounds of radiation, but he expects to be able to come sing his heart out for us again this year in November. So I'm excited about that, and God bless him for his journey. As far as membership goes, we had a smoking hot first and second quarter with 25 new members. We are, 8 days into the new quarter, and we already have 2 new members. So we're at 303 right now, with 30% coming from Laughlin. There's always opportunities for VIPs. So please, if you are looking to get into that, whether you are retired or not, or newly retired, or stay at home, if you've got some time to give, please sign up for the Volunteers in Partnership, because they do a lot of great work in our community for all sorts of different organizations. Notary is available, fishing licenses are there. As far as projects go, we had a request from the Bullhead City School District. They have 25 brand new teachers coming in, and they wanted to put together welcome baskets. So we put out a little post for them, and in doing so, Principal John Moss saw it and said, "That would be a great idea for Laughlin. Can you help us?" So I said, "Well, of course we can." So Laughlin will have 10 brand new teachers coming in. And so what we are looking for are staples for the teacher's desk, or anything to make them feel welcome to our community and their new teaching life. This is not school supplies. Rotary does a great job of gathering those up. We're talking for our business members, branded notepads, branded pens, Post-it notes, stress balls, any little thing that would help them set up their desk without them having to extend more of those funds out of their own personal pocket, like so many of them have to do. So we're hoping to have the Laughlin items to the Laughlin Chamber by Friday, July 25th, because they are starting their back to school training on July 31st. So that will stay up and available for people. As far as AB 110, I have heard word that we are receiving a signing ceremony. It will be in Las Vegas. It looks like it will be in early August. They're doing all the signing ceremonies in one location on one day. So I think it's going to be August 4th at 11:30. I've been told to pencil it in, but be sure you might be able to erase it. So everybody, all the interested parties will be notified about that, and we will send out invitations as necessary. Cross your fingers that that date holds. Other than that, I don't have very much other information. I would really appreciate being part of the solution for Boys and Girls Club. I will say that having a child in this community who did attend Boys and Girls Club, we must have it. We must. It's our only available child care. In the same vein, there were moments where I thought, gee, he's outside playing on that playground. There's not a zillion staff. There's no fence. What if somebody walked away with my kid? So I think that the county's idea of moving things over to Bennett Elementary is an excellent one. I've seen some of the Silverado Community Center up in Las Vegas is stunning. We don't have quite that large of a space, but if we can do anything to improve our area for the community and the seniors, that would be great. There are solutions that are available that just need to be explored, and I'm going to help you walk down that path if you will have me. Congratulations to our 3 members, River Passage Water Taxis and Rocky River Adventures and Riverside Resort River Shuttle, and our member, Laughlin Rotary. That was a fantastic one, and we are all very proud of them. You guys have a great day. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Any questions? Probably not. Thanks.
And I did skip over Kelly Lear, but she is not present.
Just couldn't see the room, so.
Right. Receive a report from Jackie Wallen. Laughlin Tourism Commission.
Laughlin Chamber. We said that for a lot of years.
Just comes out for automatically.
Board and guests, Jackie Wallen, Laughlin Tourism Commission, obviously Rotary too, and the River Fund. I still represent the River Fund. If you did not know, I resigned from the Mojave County Airport Authority, but still serve as a general member, so that I can keep a track on the things that are going on there with scheduled service and general aviation. I promise to report anything that I think is pertinent to the board when I can. We had rockets over the river, as you probably saw and heard. It was a 22-minute show this year. It went off without a glitch. The last couple of years have been quite challenging with our lack of technology in this area, being able to meet the choreograph simultaneous with the rockets. Right now, we manually push a button at a countdown, so that the music and the rockets start at the same time. Zambelli did an amazing job, and they negotiated a great price for us for the 22-minute show. I'd like to thank Mr. Bilbray for doing an aerial drone footage of that, and we also had another professional drone operator do some. So going into USA 250 for 2026, our progress on that starts in January with the state of Nevada and the state of Arizona. We've attended our first workshop yesterday with Travel Nevada and Tourism, they are giving us a lot of good ideas, and everybody's attending, and we're all trying to work together. Most of it's going to be on education of our youth and our adults on some of the history they don't know on why we are 250 years old. Some people are confused on why we have independence and don't understand what it really refers to, so we want to educate people. We also want to do some talent, USA spiritual talent in the area with regarding to any kind of art and any kind of mural or anything that can designate 1776 to 2026 in a nice, peaceful, and spiritual way. Those are the kind of things we're working on, and we're doing stories. So stories about our specific area on the furthest south point in Nevada is going to be very instrumental, and I suspect that most of that history and that story is going to go to Don Laughlin for his vision, but we will all collaborate on that when we move forward. But our efforts are going to start in January and go right through July 4th, 2026.
Jackie?
Yes.
Can you include the post in some of that? Obviously, 250 years, veterans, we're going to want to be heavily involved.
Of course. Once we get an outline and a strategic plan put together for the state and for our area in collaboration with the other side of the river, we want to make sure that things are happening everywhere so people have a chance to learn the history of both states. I want to make sure that everybody's included, especially our veterans. You know how I feel about that, and I will make sure that they're there. And I also want to make sure that any opportunities we have to involve ROTC or the youth and those who are serving in our youth can be there, and we can celebrate them.
Right.
So I will keep you up on that.
Thank you.
We have negotiated rockets over the river for 2026 already. That had to be negotiated before tariffs took effect and before we didn't have any chance to get those fireworks, and we were first into the pot. So I think we're assured all the fireworks that we want. That's kind of exciting that I got in really early. Our next event will be in September for Miranda Lambert. Our Volunteers in Partnership will be providing 20 volunteers to help with the scanning of tickets and ushering for that event. If anybody's interested in becoming a volunteer in partnership and working that event and also being able to see the concert for free, those are always open by completing an application through the chamber, and they do the background checks and everything so that our volunteers work safely together. That's September 27th. The Wand Fishing Tournament, it's the 43rd U.S. Open at Lake Mojave, and that's October 5th through the 8th. October 5th lands on a Sunday, so there will be an open to the public fishing and boating expo again at the Edge Pavilion. And it's really fun because you get lots of cool stuff for your boat for free. You get hunting knives and all kinds of really fun stuff when you go there, and you get to learn a lot about casting and a lot about our waters, and it's really a fun event. Then we have a townwide concert in fall. That's November 8th, and that's our return of Jason Aldean. That's also at the LEC. Volunteers in Partnership are going to help with that. The last time we asked Golden about those events, they said if we can get up to 30, that even helps them much more with their staffing. If you don't know, the LEC or Golden Entertainment, when they sign those acts to LEC, they don't make any money on the event itself. They go about $250,000 into debt for each event. Not saying that they don't make any money in reservations, occupancy, the essentials, food and beverage, and also in gaming. That's not the point. But for the P&L for each one of those events, it's always a negative. Them bringing those in events really highlights the tourism and the introduction of our destination, which is what we at the LTC really want to do. We already talked about USA 250 and the birthday celebration January to July, but I also want you to know that we're right dab smack in the middle of planning Davis Dam 75. This week is going to be a test run on some things that we want to do, and 17 of our volunteers are going to participate in that event up at Davis Dam to do some test walks and that kind of stuff. And that's coming around really well. DavisDam75.com is already a website, and that will be updated as soon as we can. The logo is almost finished, so you'll get to see that. I'm on the steering committee, and it's really coming along quite well. We haven't had so much movement on Route 66 100th. We're working on that, but I don't find a lot of people that are interested, even though we're 30 miles, the closest resort within 30 miles of Route 66. I don't get a lot of happy vibes about that, but I'm trying to get people to come down out of there for that evening when they travel through, from Kingman through Needles, and see if they can experience what Laughlin and what Bullhead has to offer as far as hospitality and friendship. So that's all I have right now for LTC. If you don't mind, I'd like to just speak my mind about water issues for a second. It is my opinion and the opinion of most general managers that we're sick of listening to it. We have been listening to this for over 2 years now, and there's nothing been done. Yeah, someone researched this, someone filed for that grant, but damn it. Now we have a community that's so stagnant and so hard to have faith and feel future in it that why doesn't somebody just get off their butt and do something? Get the money from somewhere, get it from Fort Mojave Fund. I don't care where it comes from, but our people in Laughlin, the investors, the partners, the residents are all feeling defeated. I don't even live in Laughlin and I feel it. I have been working on this side of the river for 39 years and always lived in Arizona. That doesn't mean I don't care, and I don't have the majority of my friends on this side and my partners that work really hard for this community. I really want to see something happen, and I personally, and so do the general managers, want to see something happen fast. And it's not going to be happy if we have anywhere here if we have to wait 3 to 5 years. That's not the solution. It wouldn't happen in Las Vegas. If they had a shortage and they were having problems with their water and their development and their future, it would not sit this long. And excuse me for the redheaded stepchildren in this community, but we are redheaded stepchildren, and I'm tired of hearing people say that nobody cares. Mark, I hate to say that, but they don't. We're so far away, and we'll never forget the day that our leaders said that you are 1% of our voting base and you're 99% of my headaches. It's stuck with us all this time, and on an emotional level, personally, and for my friends and for this community that I've supported and supported me, don't get me wrong, this community's been really good to me. I can't see how anybody can let this go any farther without really stepping on a big soapbox and being pissed.
We are pissed.
Right.
We are.
I mean, I sat on a big soapbox in front of Mojave County supervisors when the hatchery went out. It only took us a year to find people to help us fix that hatchery. And that was a big deal. We had lost millions and millions of fish and millions of people coming here for tourism because we had no hatchery. It took partnerships, it took ingenuity, it took planning, it took some creativity to get these things done, and I cannot just sit back and watch Laughlin die. And it's very, very disturbed right now. And I don't think that I speak for myself. I think it's really an issue that we need to address. And that's all I'll say on that. And thank you, Carrie, wherever she went, for following through on AB 110. It was something I started in the beginning, and she really, really brought it home. So I'm excited about that. Any questions, you guys? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, planning and zoning, general business, nothing. Get to the other side. Comments by the general public. A period devoted to comments by the general public about matters relevant to the board's jurisdiction will be held. No vote may be taken on a matter not listed on the posted agenda. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Please step up to the speaker's podium. If applicable, clearly state your name and address, and please spell your last name for the record. If any member of the board wishes to extend the length of a presentation, this will be done by the chairperson or the board by majority vote.
Good afternoon, board members. My name is Renee Yepez. I am not going to give my address for good reasons,
I work in law enforcement.
but my last name is spelled Y-E-P-E-Z. I am speaking today as a deeply concerned citizen of the Laughlin area. I want to address a matter that has stuck at the heart of our community, the well-being of our youth. It has come to my attention, along with many others, that significant decisions affecting the young people of Laughlin are being made without adequate community input or transparency. Specifically, I am referring to the potential movement, closure of the Boys and Girls Club. This facility has been a cornerstone of our youth, offering safety, opportunity, and guidance. To see it potentially change or move with little public awareness or discussion is not only alarming, it is unacceptable. What makes this even more concerning is the knowledge that this facility was funded in part by the Community Development Block Grant, alongside contributions from Fort Mojave Development. These funds come with strict stipulations. I know I've seen the contract as well. The facility was intended and required to serve both youth and seniors. I am aware that in the past there were attempts to convert it into a senior-only center. After review, it was determined this was not allowed due to the original terms of the grant. The current actions being taken without the board, quietly, without transparency, seems to violate not only the intent of those funds, but the trust of this community. It gives the appearance of decision-making done behind closed doors with no regard for the vulnerable populations who will be most affected. We must be the advocates for our youth. Their voices are not being heard in these conversations, and it is our duty as citizens and leaders to represent them. I respectfully request that an independent review of the grant agreements and conditions be conducted before any decision is finalized regarding the movement, closure of the Boys and Girls Club. 2, Clark County provide public updates on any meetings or decisions involving community development block grant process and Fort Mojave development funds. 3, consideration be given to restoring a town manager in Laughlin, someone dedicated to oversee and advocating for our unique needs. 4, greater community engagement, transparency be implemented moving forward. 5, lastly, a few years ago, Laughlin was listed for consideration for improvement through the CDBGs. I would like Laughlin to be placed back on that Clark County list for a youth center, the center being an addition to Spirit Mountain Park. These actions matter. They set the tone for how Laughlin is treated, not just by Clark County, but by us. Our youth deserve more. Our families deserve honesty, and our town deserves to be heard. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Renee. Who has the plans? She has a copy of it.
No, we can't ask
I'll
questions.
try my
at this
best in
point.
3
It's
minutes.
just for them to speak.
Robert Bilbray, 1631 Cal Edison Drive, Laughlin, Nevada, representing myself. Last meeting, I told the board I would keep you advised as to the status of the Emerald Bay project, including the 600 acres in Arizona and 5,000 acres in Nevada. As you recall, Shawnee Coleman and Real Property Management and has pretty much determined until the auction is completed on the 600 acres in Arizona, that's when they would set the timeline for potentially an auction or direct sale of the 5,000 acres in Nevada. For the third time this morning, this Colorado River Unified School District did it again and asked for documentation that would impact the entire $78 million initial development line of credit in the Arizona side. I'm not saying that we couldn't agree to it. I'm just saying their timing, I think we all know, they wait to the last minute within 24 hours of it. I spoke with, and again, to give you the history, there's only been one buyer for the Arizona 300 acres. The rest of the 600 acres is already under escrow by S3 and has been waiting to close. The bid price is $4.6 million. Now that auction, that price was set some years ago. Now it's some time ago. So as of this morning, at the Kingman Courthouse, it was identified that they would move the date of the auction to, they've got one state agency they've got to approve, but they would move it to November, which potentially, the other potential issue is the appraisal at $4.6 million, which only one bidder showed up at, might have to be redone, in which case then it would be 60 to 75 days to redo the appraisal on the Arizona side. I don't, if anything, I think the appraisal would probably go down. There's only been one buyer, one showing interest, one with a financial wherewithal, and one putting up the initial amount of the money. I will keep the board advised as it happens. I did speak with Britton Lee and with the lender for S3. They are full speed ahead. They are doing this project, hell or high water. I'm talking about the Arizona side. And I got absolutely no hesitancy. I got authorization to report that to this board and to our commissioner. And I'll do that. Again, I'm not foreseeing, if I see anything that hiccups between now and November, I'll let the board know. But I wanted to give the board an update of what happened this morning in Kingman. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to.
They won't let us, we can't ask questions at this point.
Oh, that's right. The school district has always been the only issue across the river for anybody who's wondering. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Nate?
Good afternoon, Evan Edom, World Economic Support Agency. So typically we don't like to give reports unless we have something pretty sound to talk about, but in lieu of today's conversation and a lot of the opinions that have been voiced out, it's nice to give a little bit of a sit rep of where we're at. We've been working diligently, even though behind the scenes our grant sector kind of had a big hiccup within the last year of everything taking place with the administrative change. So we had to change our kind of a vision and strategic approach. When it comes to the grants, they're starting to open back up now. We're starting to see a lot of them come back on the table. So in the recent months, what we've been doing is working diligently with the legislators, the senators, Congress, and the governor's office. The governor's office lately has actually now been in full support understanding of the economic sector of what this community has to offer, specifically Southlands and so forth, has indicated that if any of the projects fall through on community development funds for the state, that he wants some of them earmarked to come back down to Laughlin. The problem that we face is the total in these projects, which is why we're working in negotiations right now in a couple different areas of private development of the tanks, meaning can a private entity come in and build the tank and donate that to the system? Obviously, you have the landowner problem when it comes to the easements and all of that red tape that has to get put into place. But right now, given the conservative numbers from the water district and numbers that we're getting privately, we're leaning more towards a private development. It's much more affordable and it's much more plausible, and it just has to fill their scope of work. We're working diligently with Bullhead Water Authority as well to kind of learn more about the community and the valley and what they're doing, their bids, their projects, and so forth, and they've been very transparent in trying to make sure that we can figure out a resolution to this. The other thing that I'm happy to announce is we brought on 6 interns from UNLV, the Global Entrepreneurship Experience Program, and their primary focus is to help draw out the impact statement for communities such as Laughlin, so other rural communities. Mesquite's another one that's having similar issues. And so what we're doing is we're working on a team that's going after grants, a team that's going after the impact study. So how does this impact not only our youth and so forth as far as our opportunities within this community, but you have to look at it as in a pro and con. So you have to see necessarily how is this going to benefit the community from every parameter, but also what's the detriment that it's creating. And then as Bob has in the past explained, is what's the value that we're seeing in loss from not addressing this issue. That calculation has to be put into paper so it's clear and in plain sight, so that way you can see kind of what the cost average is to kind of make a proposal on this and a timely decision. That's what we're getting back from the governor's office and Congress and senators. They want to see that. So that's what we're putting those interns to full force on, because that's where we're going to see most of the impact come back from. So once we get that done, we should be seeing some type of progress, I would say, within the next 2 months. I would say conservatively, but hopefully by August, we should have a better idea on the grants. I know that we've been talking about that for some time, but it's a turbulent water situation.
Yeah, the change in the administration and then NGO has now become a dirty
Sure,
word.
and that's
So,
always under duress right
that
now and
hurts
under
too.
pressure. So we're working diligently around all the other options as well. We were looking for philanthropic dollars for some time, but that's not going to be the option here, especially at those kind of numbers we're talking. So the only route that we're looking at right now is private development. How can we come in and private develop this and turn it over to the actual water district? So that's where we're at right now. I just want to let you guys know we're still full steam ahead. We're not slowing down by any means, even though we had to change course with the grants. But
Sure.
so that's our update for right now.
Thank you so much for that.
Chair, I'll do it after that one.
Hi, my turn. Jill Ramelot, Ramelot. I am here representing myself, but actually I'm here representing the newspaper because it's been talked about quite a bit. Obviously, I'm doing my job. It's making people come and complain about the definition of a single word. And I just want to let you guys know that every story I do, I send specific written questions to Bronson Mack, and he answers me in writing every time. So everything I ever publish from them has been provided to me in writing from the Big Bend Water District. So all of those numbers were what they specifically sent me in writing. So I love that they're complaining now, even though that's what they said. So I'm just here to tell you, I always follow everything up. And if any of you ever want to see the exact question answer that I send them, I'm happy to provide it because it's the same thing that I'm going to publish. And I also want to thank Clark County and everything you guys do to make sure that I stay informed. Mark and Michael Naft have been very forthcoming with everything I've ever needed, especially on the Fort Mojave Development District and everything that's going on. So I've been getting all the information I need from everyone. So I'm really happy they're having the meetings because I first came on board doing this when that first meeting happened in July of 2023. And that kind of started my ball rolling of covering the water district. So I'm happy I'm here and I'll be covering the meetings. And if any of you have any ideas of what you would like to be included in news stories coming up, reach out to me directly and I'm happy to include your comments. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
I promise this is the end. Robert Bilbray. I just wanted to let the board know I've been contacted by the Board of Supervisors across the river. I've also spoken with the Secretary of Interior, Doug Borgum. about him visiting the Laughlin community, looking at public land, the public lands issue in Laughlin. That would also include Southlands. It would include, obviously, the Fort Mojave former generating plant, where every utility seems to think they're acting as a government agency now. And so I did want to let you know, I'll keep you advised as to when the secretary might be visiting the community. He will be visiting the Bullhead community at the same time. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark?
Thank you. I just have two quick comments. I appreciate everything Jackie said. I just want to make one clarification. I know that comment about, the 99% and all that, that was the previous leadership. I feel like Commissioner Naft has really enhanced the amount of connection between Clark County and Laughlin. So I appreciate everything Jackie says about that as well. There's one update I forgot to mention is regarding Cougar Drive. I know we've talked about that a lot by the Vista and the Vintage. So in the next 30 days, you might see there's actually work going on today. Public Works is going to be building out that road and kind of making it a cul-de-sac at the top. So what you most likely will see is you might see the bus stop on Bruce Woodway being removed. So please don't be concerned. That's because we're going to be relocating it. And yes, so I don't have too many. I got like literally 10 minutes ago some information on it, but you're going to see some project activity there. That's to enhance that, to help with the relocating the bus stop. And we will also be, I know there's a gentleman who did pass away from the VFW. We'll be dedicating one of the bus stops in his honor as a remembrance. So I appreciate the community really pushing that and working with Silver Rider. So you might see some changes going on there. I'll have a lot more specifics next month, but in the next 30 days, you might see some work going on around that area. So just to be aware.
So when we have the meeting discussing Boys and Girls Club, can we get a copy of that original contract? On
Sure.
What is required to maintain that?
Yes, I heard a lot today. I believe we did the correct first step of reaching out to Boys and Girls Club because they are our user. They are our lessee and we're the leaser. So that was our first step in the contract. So and that, like I mentioned, everyone, that happened exactly a week ago. And then we're working on other stuff. So I will check with our RPM department. I'll check with to make sure I'm sure I can give it to everybody. So it's quite interesting to read it.
And then if we can get a submission again for community CDAC for that project again, given what has transpired,
Sure.
I'm sure there's something that I think Mr. Bilbray probably has, but the commissioner I'm sure has access to, is that original proposal and funding that was done, I think, 4 or 5 years ago. And because we did have Riverwood in this last CDAC, but there's no reason we can't submit for another one.
Right,
Sure, of course. So I apologize, I forgot those updates during my main one. So
that's okay. Thank you. Okay, seeing no one else, our next meeting is August 12th in this room, and I would like a motion to adjourn.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes, I'm going to give you two if you have trouble with a sore throat. This is nothing but